This is not the world you know. In 1941, history turned, but not the way you remember. Welcome to the other side of history. This is not the world you know. There was no D-Day, no Allied victory, no Cold War, only silence and obedience. The cities still stand, the flags still wave, but the meaning behind them was rewritten. And it all began with a message, a signal, a choice made in the shadows, a single decision that rewired the course of history. Not with an explosion, but with a whisper. By late 1941, the world stood on the edge. Japan moved toward war in the Pacific. Germany pressed deep into Soviet soil. And America watched, waited, hesitated. President Roosevelt knew the moment was coming. His advisors monitored every signal, every intercepted code, every Japanese fleet movement. And yet, the nation remained still. Isolationists filled the radio waves. "No more foreign wars," they shouted. "America first." But in the Pacific, Japan advanced. The Philippines, Malaya, Indochina. The empire needed oil, and America had cut the supply. It was only a matter of time. But history did not follow the script, because someone else was listening. Inside the Abwehr, Germany's military intelligence service, a message was intercepted, encrypted. Japanese naval code. The details were unmistakable, a surprise attack directed at Pearl Harbor. And Adolf Hitler, for all his madness, understood one thing. If America joined the war against the Axis, the Reich could lose. So he made a decision few would have believed, to intervene. A diplomatic cable was prepared. No signatures, no flags, only warnings. Cloaked in ambiguity, it passed through Lisbon, then Bern, then Stockholm, until quietly it arrived in Washington. A single envelope, 1 page, 4 lines. Enough to change the fate of the world. At first, the message was ignored. The Office of Naval Intelligence thought it a trick, a hemasitvani. Who warns their enemy before a war? But within days, other intercepts confirmed the threat. Fleet positions matched. The tone of Japanese diplomacy changed. Roosevelt was briefed in private. His eyes narrowed. He asked no question. He simply said, "Move the carriers." The Pacific Fleet dispersed. Air defenses were placed on full alert. Sailors were called back early, and no one said a word. When asked by reporters, Roosevelt smiled. "We always prepare," he said. And still, the nation slept. The date came, just as the message said. The planes arrived, the bombs fell. But the harbor was awake. Guns thundered from the shore. Spotlights cut the sky. The USS Enterprise was already out to sea. It was no ambush. It was a battle. Hundreds still died, but thousands were saved. The Pacific Fleet survived. And something strange followed. The president did not speak. Congress did not convene. No declaration was made. There was mourning, there was anger, but no war. Pearl Harbor had burned, but America did not burn with it. Weeks passed. Japan regrouped. Germany waited, and the United States said nothing. Then came Bern. A neutral ground, a Swiss hotel, a table set for 3, 1 German diplomat, 1 Japanese envoy, 1 American observer, no names, no notes, just a map and a bottle of scotch. The terms were simple: stay out of Europe. Let Japan rule the Pacific. In return, the Axis would leave America untouched. And behind closed doors, the deals began. Steel for silence, technology for time, power for peace. The world was being divided, not by armies, but by agreements. And so the moment passed. The flames died. The world adjusted. The people never knew the full truth. The newspapers printed half stories. The radios played national anthems. But the world had changed. Germany's flag now flew over Paris. Japan's sun rose over Manila, and America stood still. It remained whole, free in name, loyal to none, neutral on the surface, complicit in the shadows. The war ended, not with victory, but with arrangement, and history bent. One warning had shifted the storm, and the greatest power on earth chose silence. This was the moment history split, and the silence still echoes. Cracks never begin with a bang. They start with a silence, a pause, a moment where nothing is said, and everything begins. This is such a moment. The world is watching. The leaders speak. The people wait. The ocean lies still, but deep beneath it, pressure builds, and the crack widens. Pearl Harbor, the place where steel melted into sea, where December 7th carved its name into the Pacific. Today, no bombs fall, only petals and folded flags. A woman in black holds memory in her hands, the triangle of her husband's flag. No words remain, just a name and silence. Around her, uniforms, polished boots, straight spines. A priest recites, the wind answers. But Washington remains quiet. No declaration, no thunder from Capitol Hill, only the creaking of chairs and the shuffling of telegrams. And so the dead rest without command, honored but unanswered. Meanwhile, in the smoky rooms of the old world, maps breathe. They do not lie, but they yet suggest. A hand appears, it wears cufflinks but no name. It slides a glass across a map, from east to west. The amber liquid ripples across borders, as if to say, this is where it begins. No microphones, no flags behind this table, only whispers, only glances, only deals. This is not history written by victors, but bartered by shadows, where alliances are inked in liquor and erased in smoke. And outside, the world sees nothing, because nothing official has happened, yet. In living rooms across America, the screen glows. It says everything's fine. Stocks are stable. Baseball resumes. There's a new musical on Broadway. A mother sets dinner. A father folds the newspaper. Children laugh, and the machine hums on. The half-truth machine. Slick, bright, friendly, huh? It doesn't lie. It selects. The anchors speak of heroism, of vigilance, of moral clarity. But they say nothing of what was traded in Berlin, or what burns in Manila. And so the American family sleeps well, wrapped not in ignorance, but in illusion. In the east, another sun rises, not the gentle dawn of a peaceful day, but a red circle drawn with fire. Over Manila, the light comes early, too early. Japanese officers patrol the streets. Children watch from windows, and the old colonial flags are folded away. The city breathes in silence. but it is not calm. It is waiting. Empires do not walk, they march, and where they pass, they rewrite. Streets, names, histories, futures. The rising sun casts long shadows, and in them, resistance, fear, resentment, and prophecy. But not all the world is fire and steel. Somewhere far away, Africa breathes. In a village untouched by telegrams and treaties, a family gathers. They laugh, they cook, they sing to the rhythm of dusk. And yet, even here the crack is coming, not today, but someday, because empires cast long shadows, and even peace must pay attention. A voice crackles faintly over a shortwave radio, in a language no one understands, and still the father listens, because the world is changing, and this village may not be spared. Cracks do not scream, they whisper, they stretch, slow and silent, until something breaks. And when it breaks, it's already too late. The age of contradictions. The axis reigns, the world obeys. But beneath the surface, something moves. The year is 1971. The guns are quiet, the banners wave, and the cities glow in red and white. Tokyo rises, Berlin expands, Washington smiles. The world appears in order, but this is not peace, it is victory prolonged. A new world order has emerged, not with liberation, but through control. Children salute, monorails glide, and in glass towers the architects of silence drink together. They no longer conquer, they manage. Not everyone claps. In the alleys of Paris, a wall bleeds with graffiti, a silent symbol, a memory painted in haste. In Warsaw, a shortwave radio sputters, 3 seconds of static, then a whisper. It says, "We are still here." The newspapers say nothing, the cameras never arrive, but the streets remember. Some fight with weapons, others with words, music, symbols. The Axis cannot erase them, only chase them. They were born after the war. They remember no other world. They wear uniforms. They memorize oaths. They learn maps where freedom is only a myth. In classrooms, the globe is redrawn. In schoolyards, history is rehearsed. But inside their rooms, behind closed doors, another rhythm pulses. A forbidden song, a voice on a hidden tape, a book with torn cover pages. They are the first generation raised in the cage, and the first to notice the bars. The screens do not blink. In 1984, information flows in one direction, downward. Cameras no longer watch, they anticipate. Facial recognition, biometric gates, behavioral scoring. The eye of the state grows faster than the fear. A child hesitates at a scanner. A woman speaks too freely at a party. A journalist pauses before publishing. And so, they edit themselves. This is no longer censorship. It is internalized obedience. Every empire believes it has solved the human, until the human reminds them otherwise. In 1986, a data center in Berlin goes dark for 11 minutes. Someone rewrote the truth. In Osaka, a banker vanishes. His account had funded the underground for years. Currency collapses, trade halts, a diplomat defects. The surface remains clean, but underneath, the heat returns. The crack, silent since the war, now pulses again. Some truths can't be erased, only hidden. In London, an exiled broadcaster reads poetry from banned authors. In Santiago, an old mimeograph machine rolls again, printing the same message on 10,000 sheets. Freedom is not a phase. In dormitories, in basements, in late-night whispers, a second reality grows. It has no tanks, no satellites, no anthem. But it breathes, and like all living things, it waits. The age of contradictions is not defined by war, but by the illusion of peace. And the deeper the silence, the sharper the break. As the sky turned red, there was no September 11th as we knew it, no planes, no towers, but a revolution and then bright light. It began in August, not with weapons, but with words. Across Brooklyn and the Bronx, in Harlem and Queens, the walls began to speak. Graffiti, flyers, radio static. One phrase repeated, "We are not your history." They were young. Most had never known peace, but they had seen enough silence. They had grown up under watchful eyes, beneath banners they had never chosen, with names rewritten and stories erased. They carried no flags, only memories. They wanted no kings, only voices. In the alleys, fire bloomed from overturned cans. Police lines cracked. The anthem was drowned out by drums, chants, screams. It wasn't a revolution, not yet. It was a reminder that even after decades of obedience, the human heart still hears its own rhythm. No foreign powers, no ideologies, just one demand. Let us breathe, let us speak. Journalists called it chaos. The government called it terrorism. The people called it, finally. The world watched, some with hope, some with fear. But a few watched with calculation. Because uprisings are dangerous, and dangerous things are sometimes erased. September 11, 2001, 8:30 in the morning. Beneath the Atlantic, something moves. Not a whale, not a storm, something built by silence. A Japanese submarine glides through cold black water. Its course is perfect, its purpose unspoken. In the command room, stillness. No speeches, no songs, only red lights and locked coordinates. They do not ask why, they already know. A voice on the radio says, "Prepare." No emotion, just protocol. A city sleeps above them, dreaming of change. A rocket is armed, a key is turned, a button waits beneath a gloved hand. 8:12 a.m., Manhattan. Rush hour. Children head to school. Radios hum, coffee brews. A taxi changes lanes, a street musician tunes his guitar. And then, light. A white wall swallows the sky. The towers melt into nothing. The shadows vanish. There is no sound, no scream, only light, and then less than that. Time ends at the speed of light. The streets become ash before they know fire. The buildings dissolve before they can fall. The blast has no name. The city has no chance. New York is no longer there. Televisions everywhere flicker, then freeze. Across the world, a black screen, one message: do not resist. No explanation, no claim of responsibility. Just a statement, just a warning. In Berlin, the protest signs are gone. In Paris, resistance leaders vanish by night. In Cairo, the chants fall silent. In Santiago, the walls are scrubbed clean. In Chicago, activists burn their own manifestos. In Manila, a broadcast ends mid-sentence. The studio never airs again. Fear spreads faster than fire. No retaliation, no speeches, no war. Only compliance. The revolution evaporates. New York has declared a security perimeter. Access forbidden. Records sealed. The sky over America turns red. Not from flame, but from memory. Months pass. Dust settles. Names are forgotten. But in a forgotten room, a monitor flickers. A grainy video, a girl's voice. She says, "History will burn through every silence." She doesn't cry. She doesn't shout. She only speaks. Her image fades. The screen goes black. The Echo and the Lesson. The world that never was has shown us something real. Now we ask, what did we learn? What could still be? This world we walk through, the flags, the fire, the silence, it was never real, but it was never a lie. We built a reflection, a distortion, a question. What if history had turned? What if the victors were different? What if silence had won? And then we looked back at ourselves, because every shadow we invented already touched our world. Mass surveillance, manufactured consent, wars without declaration, truth rewritten by repetition. The fiction trembled because the world outside already shakes. This was never just a story, it was a mirror. In every regime, truth is the first target, but memory fights back. A hidden tape, a whispered story, a name carved on a wall. Resistance is not always loud. Sometimes it survives as a rumor, a prayer, a page. In Warsaw, memory wore a star. In Chile, it broadcast from a basement. In Rwanda, it whispered in silence. And now, it is up to us. To remember is to refuse. To recall is to rebuild. If we do not hold the past, we repeat its shape. There is no map for tomorrow, only roads we make. The past is written, the present argued, but the future listens. It listens to teachers, to artists, to rebels, to anyone brave enough to speak while it is still allowed. A vote, a hand raised, a law repealed, a flag lowered. Hope isn't naive, it's defiant. Because to hope in a world that taught you fear, that is resistance. A line on a map is not destiny, it is a decision. Borders were drawn in war rooms. They can be redrawn in classrooms. Power once crossed oceans in ships. Now it moves with algorithms. But what remains, what always remains, is the human. Our connections, our courage, our refusal to remain divided. History does not belong to kings. It belongs to those who ask the next question. Rabbit holes don't close, not really. They remain, in books, in thoughts, in doubt. A crack in the world is not just a threat. It is a reminder that things can break, yes, but also they can be remade. When we see injustice, we must look closer. When we feel safe, we must ask, for whom? The crack stays open because it must. We told a story. You walked through it. But now we ask, what story will you tell? Ask, speak, remember, question the map they give you. History is not a story to watch. It's a story to write. If you found value in this journey through shadow and reflection, like, comment, and subscribe to join us on the next. And if you wish to walk even deeper into time, become a member of Timeless Tales today. Because stories matter, because truth echoes, and because the next chapter is yours.